So without any further ado, why don't we get started? Welcome to the Wednesday, February 24th, 7 p.m. Board of Selectmen meeting. I will recognize that we have Clarence Fanto from the Berkshire Eagle and CTSB recording the meeting. If anyone else is recording, please announce themselves. I don't see anybody. I would next ask that the members of the board please identify themselves per state regulations.
Ed Lane here.
Dave Roach here.
Warren Archie here.
Mary Beth Mitz here.
Neil Maximilian here. Okay. I have no specific announcements from the chair before we get moving. So with that, I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes of February 10th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of February 10.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Citizens Open Forum. Is there anyone here that wishes to be heard or wishes to speak? It appears that we have none. Looking at my screen, I don't see anybody who would be likely to. So I will move on to Citizens Open Forum, where we primarily have donation acceptances.
Consent agenda.
So we have a list of donations to accept. I'll briefly run through them. Chief Chris O'Brien from the fire department is asking us to accept a donation in the amount of $200 from Ellen and Scott Hand, and another donation of $200 from the Little River Rotary Club in memory of Will Bud Tracy. And then on a similar theme, he's asking us to accept a donation from Dick DeFazio for $100, a donation from Joyce and Henning Carlson in the amount of $50 for William Bud Tacey, a $250 donation from Jay Donovan and Son in memory of William Bud Tacey, an acceptance of $20 from Joanne May in the amount of $20 in memory of William Bud Tacey, and finally a donation of $50 from Charlotte Tacey in memory of William Bud Tacey.
So, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Chris, I guess I will introduce the topic and let you run us through your complicated math that amounted to zeros here. We'll need to do public hearings here for both enterprise funds for water and sewer. What will happen is the clerk will read the legal notice as it appeared in the Berkshire Eagle. A motion to open the public hearing is required. Once the board has discussed the issue, another motion to close the public hearing is necessary. And finally, a motion to adopt the new water and sewer rates is in order. Chris, do you envision this as being one combined motion, or should we do a separate motion for each?
I historically, we've done one combined motion. There's nothing wrong with doing it separately, but you could do it in one fell swoop if you're inclined as well.
I'm inclined, seeing the simplicity with what you've presented to us. So I guess starting off, I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Mr. Chair, I should read the notice first.
Oh, of course, yes. I'm sorry.
So, Town of Lenox notice of public hearing. The Board of Selectmen will hold their annual public hearing in the setting of water and sewer rates for fiscal year 22 on Wednesday, February 24th, 2021 at 7 p.m. in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, Town Hall, 6 Walker Street, Lenox, Mass, via Zoom. Any persons wishing to comment should be afforded an opportunity to be heard. Neil Maximilian, Chairman, Lenox Board of Selectmen. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, I'll defer to any members of the public who would wish to speak first. Seeing none, I want to recognize our Public Works Superintendent, Bill Gopp, who's here, as well as Mary Ellen Deming from the Selectmen's Office. Superintendent Gopp and I are bringing forward, along with our town accountant, Charlie Brown, a proposal to keep water and wastewater rates stable for the coming year, every year. At about this time in the month of February, per our water and sewer regulations, we have to set new rates. So we're recommending that as a result of the performance of both enterprise funds that we've seen in the last year, even taking into account some of the long-term decline in consumption, we are comfortable keeping rates stable at $8.22 per 1,000 gallons consumed of water, and using the water metered rate to apply a $12.70 per 1,000 gallons for the sewer wastewater rate for billing purposes. The budget for both departments one is actually down going into the next fiscal year. And the other's stable. We feel that the user charges, despite everything that's happened in the last year, should get us through for at least another year. And whereas we kept a 0% rate for let me back up, a 0% levy growth on the property tax levy, it seems appropriate to respond in kind with the water and sewer rates as well, if we can, and our analysis suggests that we can. And I'll answer any questions that any member of the board or member of the public may have.
Mr. Chair, may I just make a comment?
Of course.
I just want to thank Chris and Billy and Charlie for putting together this level funded budget. It's not easy. We have to, don't forget that the water plants and the sewage, the treatment plants and all, they have kind of fixed costs. It's the same amount of electricity, no matter how much you produce or how much flow you have coming through the plants. And we're selling less water. That's the fact of the matter. So, these departments are going to have to tighten their belts a little bit, and but it's good. And I just want to say thank you for doing it. I know it doesn't come easy to do that. So, but we have fixed costs and we have flows that are down. So, but again, thank you.
I echo those emotions, Ed. It is not an easy endeavor to present us with something like this. I'll caution folks that this is the enterprise rates and the rates for households. This does not really relate directly to costs in the future for upgrades to equipment, which we will be facing as a town, inevitably. But to be able to do this in this climate right now with decreased usage is very commendable. Hearing no other comments, I guess I'd entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Well, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve a water rate of $8.22 per 1,000 gallons and a sewer rate of $12.70 per 1,000 gallons.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes.
Thank you very much, Chairman and members of the board. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Charlie. You guys did the heavy lifting. Liaison reports. I have one. It's a topic that we've discussed before. I've been in conversation with the chair of the planning board extensively over the last couple of days. The planning board has not met, but plan to meet on the planning board's position relative to the Cork and Hearth Fireside marijuana shop and production facility location. They individually have worked on some research relative to its placement, the legality of its placement, and other things, and had planned at one point in time following their meeting to present to us a more or less formal presentation or assessment of their own. I believe that I accurately portrayed where we really stand relative to the town of Lee and how we have a seat at the table. Lee has been kind enough to accommodate us with that, being abutters. But that I did not foresee that Lee was entertaining multiple presentations by multiple boards. But that if they wanted to present to the Lee Planning Board, there was no stopping them from approaching the Lee Planning Board and having their own discussion. So they will be talking about it. I know the strong position of some of the members of our planning board. I anticipate that that position will be solidified by the planning board once they meet at their next meeting, and we'll see where it goes. It might simply result in a letter of recommendation from them to the Lee Planning Board. It might result in a meeting. I don't think any of that really is under our control. I think we stay the course with what we've been offered as our opportunity to present our position. And I don't really see a need for an extensive presentation by the planning board to us on this subject. We had a meeting, our last meeting, we had it on the agenda, including plenty of open time for public comment. And I think we know the general sentiment. But if anyone else has a different approach that they'd like me to take or a different thought, I'm all ears.
No, I think it's great that the planning board has been meeting and has developed, a format to approach the Lee Planning Board with any concerns. So that sounds like a very good platform for them to engage.
Bless you.
Agree. Handle it this way, Neil. I think that's fine. I agree.
Yeah, I think they should be heard. They have an opportunity to be heard, keeping it cordial. I just don't see that there's merit to us jointly forming any additional positions given our truly actually limited role in this process. We've been granted access to the process as an abutter, which was not mandatory, but Lee has been kind enough to do that. And I think we've discussed that pretty extensively. So I don't know that there's more to discuss there. And that summarizes my liaison reports for the night. I've had essentially the same conversation with the community center. They have met themselves. They have the same position. I explained how the process works to them as well. One thing that's not coming out clearly, and I keep trying to explain to anyone that I do talk to, is that, and Chris, you can explain this better than I, but that it was voted to be legal in Massachusetts. That was the will of the voters in the Massachusetts election. So towns, if they opt in, are required when presented with an application to give that application a chance by allowing them to sit before the planning board or the select board and present their application. That, I believe, is mandatory, and I believe they have a 65-day window to accomplish that. So the fact that meetings are going on in Lee, and again, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, in no way signifies that Lee is for or against this proposal. It's part of their due diligence that they must do once an application is received.
Certainly. I think I'm fair and unbiased in confirming that that's the truth. You receive an application, you have an obligation to hold a public hearing.
Yeah, so I think it's good to clear that up for members of the public. The fact that these meetings are taking place has in no way signaled Lee's propensity to move forward or not move forward. It's simply mandatory that they give the applicant their due and opportunity to present. So with that, I'll entertain any other liaison reports.
Mr. Chair, did I miss something? Or is the Chamber of Commerce, that's on my agenda, a Chamber of Commerce budget? Is that not going to happen
So,
tonight?
Mary Ellen and I had received an email this afternoon from Director Noct asking to come to a future meeting.
Okay.
As opposed to presenting tonight. However, she did provide correspondence and documentation for the board's review at a future meeting.
Okay.
I understand the confusion, Ed. We did get a piece of paper in our packet for the Chamber of Commerce with no real preamble or explanation. However, I had subsequently heard that they wanted some more time specifically to try to answer in more detail the questions that we presented them last time we met.
Enough. So can I go? My liaison report
Of course.
is just the Permanent Building Committee. We're going to meet tomorrow night. We received 4 requests for qualifications, RFQs, to address the dome roof, dome ceiling in the library. First look, they all seem like great companies. So we're going to talk tomorrow night and figure out the next step on how to go about, vetting which one we're going to hire for the process. It's still no figures, no numbers, no scope of work, none of that. It's way too early in the process to even comment or think about that. But it's it's going to be substantial. But sounds like we have several different funding places that we can get possibly money, and but there's more to come in that too. We don't know numbers. We don't know anything at this point. So we'll get through tomorrow night and then hire an engineer and take it from there.
Yep.
That's all I have.
This is certainly going to require some careful explanation on our part, because it's not like you walk by the church and you can see by naked eye from the outside what's wrong. It's internal, but it is imminently endangering the structure. So it's work that needs to be done to preserve the library. Dave?
I'm good. Thank you, tonight. Yep.
Yeah, I just have one report. The Lenox Cultural Council has allocated $12,600 to 26 cultural organizations in Lenox and associated with Lenox residents. That was matched in part by a grant amount from the town general revenues. And congratulations to those organizations who are able to continue their cultural programming for the coming year. It'll be welcome. Hopefully we'll all get outside again this summer and things will get better. And that's it.
It's actually very pleasant outside today.
Yeah. For a change.
A lot of melting and a lot of our little mini snow machine up and down the sidewalks. Saw a lot of pavement today, so people were running around out there. I say this often, but it's never too often. Billy and your department, you guys get a lot of credit. We had a straight week of a little snow every day. And, I'm sure that the forces were getting tired because it's not like one big one and then get it cleaned up and then you don't do anything for several days or weeks. It was a little bit every day. And some of those days were pretty darn cold. So, when you go from that kind of cold to this kind of sunlight and warmer temperatures and things melt, it's a whole nother task to keep things from icing up and being hard to walk on. Because I thought I was going to get
Sorry, I
it.
was trying to unmute myself. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. Those guys, the crew does a really good job. They take a lot of pride in it, and they give it a lot of. They get all the credit. They do a great job.
Well, they deserve the
Notice
praise.
it.
You get some of it too, Bill.
Thanks. Yeah, they do. They do a great job, and it's always good to hear. It never gets old. Thank you. Hopefully,
Well,
we're done for a while though.
Well, that can qualify as your liaison report for the night. Warren, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Nothing to add.
Okay. Looks like we're through with liaison reports. Does anybody else have anything before we close? That looks like a no to me. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second,
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your time. Continue to stay healthy and safe. I hope some of you are at least starting on the vaccine process.